Hello everyone, and welcome to our channel. Today, we are going to delve into the incredible journey of Dr. Gary Miller, a mathematics professor who converted to Islam after being inspired by Surah Az-Zariyat. This story is a powerful testament to the timeless nature of the Quran, which contains scientific facts that modern discoveries continue to confirm. Gary Miller, originally from Canada, received his early education in religious schools where he gained both knowledge and faith. He later studied theology at Wheeling Jesuit University in the United States, where he achieved many academic accomplishments. His gift for intelligence allowed him to excel in various sciences, and he became an active supporter of his religion, often spreading his...
They solved that by putting a label on it. They call it diophysitism. Doesn't prove anything. It means two natures. Diophysitism. That's an old trick. When you don't know the answer, put a label on it. In ancient Greece, the Greeks, 25 centuries ago, came to their scientists with a question. They'd observed that you eat food, it goes through the system and some of it comes out. They wanted to know which part of what I take in is the part that feeds me, because evidently I don't need all of it, you see. Well, which is the nutritive faculty of the food? And the scientists didn't know, so they said, the part that feeds you is the nutritive faculty of the food. It's like saying the part that feeds you is the part that feeds you. That's all. It's a label. Doesn't answer anything. As I say, I could talk to you for hours about experiences. About 1977, I decided to have a look at the Quran. I never met a Muslim. I lived 100 kilometers from the nearest Muslim. See, what interested me was what non-Muslims said about Muhammad. There are books and books written about Muhammad that tell you, one thing we know for sure about this man, he had an outside source of information. One book I've got says the Quran was written by a committee. Because they've established so well that there's information in there that an Arabian shouldn't have known. He must have had someone from the outside bringing him this information. So they say, one thing we know for sure, he had an outside source of information. Now he said this book was a revelation. So they say, you see, he was a liar. He got it from somewhere, he put it in a book, and he gave it to someone, telling him it was from God. He was a liar. Other people write books and books on the subject of Muhammad, and they say, one thing we know for sure, he thought he was a prophet. He was crazy. Because they look at his life very carefully and they see episodes like, for example, when he hid in the cave with Abu Bakr. He was running from the whole city who wanted to kill him, and he hid in the cave, and when the Meccans came running up to the cave to kill them, what did he say to his friend? Did he tell him, see if you can find a back way out of the cave? What he told his friend was, relax. He was telling him, you know, I see what you see, but he said, God is with us, God will save us. So people on that basis, they say, you see, he thought he was a prophet. He thought God was with him because he said things like that. He wasn't a liar. They never seem to realize that one man can't be both. So you can't be a liar and a crazy man at the same time. If you think that an angel gives the words of God in your ear, and somebody says, I have a question for you, what does God tell you about this thing? I'll want to hear an answer tomorrow.
His beliefs with great enthusiasm. Despite his deep involvement in his faith, Miller found that his scientific thinking often clashed with his religious teachings, leading to a period of discomfort and questioning. For 9 years, he sought answers from religious leaders about divinity but was often met with silence or unsatisfactory explanations. This dissatisfaction prompted him to explore other avenues for answers, eventually leading him to read books about Islam by Orientalists. Even with his critical mindset, Miller found the answers he was looking for in the Quran, particularly in Surah Az-Zariyat verses 52 to 53. These verses clarified many of his doubts and helped him realize that the accusations against the Prophet Muhammad were not new but rather a continuation of the rejection faced by prophets throughout history. Not a single apostle came to the people before them, but they said, he is a sorcerer or a madman. Do they tell each other this? Nay, they are a people who exceed the bounds. Surah Az-Zariyat 52 to 53. Miller's journey of discovery continued as he read more about the Prophet Muhammad and the miraculous nature of the Quran. He was particularly struck by the fact that the Quran, unlike other religious texts, did not focus on the personal life of the Prophet Muhammad but rather on universal truths and scientific facts. This realization led him to appreciate the divine origin of the Quran, as it contained knowledge that could not have been known by anyone at the time of its revelation. One of the pivotal moments for Miller was when he read about the death of the Prophet Muhammad's son, Ibrahim. During a solar eclipse, some people suggested that the eclipse occurred because of Ibrahim's death. However, the Prophet Muhammad denied this, saying, "The sun and the moon do not eclipse for anyone's death or life." Sahih Bukhari. This clear and rational explanation reinforced Miller's belief in the Prophet's honesty and sanity. In 1977, Miller decided to read the Quran in its entirety. Over 3 days, he read the divine verses and found that they aligned perfectly with his beliefs and understanding of the world. He was amazed by the Quran's scientific accuracy and its mention of facts that modern science had only recently discovered. For example, the Quran mentions that 80% of the human body is made up of water, a fact confirmed by Dutch scientist Anthony Leeuwenhoek over 200 years ago. Similarly, the Quran speaks about the expanding universe, a phenomenon discovered by Saul Perlmutter, Adam Rees, and Brian Schmidt, who won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2011 for their findings. Moreover, the Quran discusses the stages of embryonic development in Surah Al-Hajj verse 5, which caught the attention of Professor Keith Moore, an embryology expert and Miller's colleague at the University of Toronto. Moore was so impressed by the Quran's descriptions that he incorporated this information into later editions of his book, The Developing Human, a standard textbook for medical students worldwide. He even published a new book on clinical embryology, highlighting the Quran's precedence in describing embryonic development. Miller then paid his highest respect to the Quran. 200 years ago, Dutch scientist Anthony Leeuwenhoek discovered that 80% of the human body consists of water, a fact already mentioned in the Quran, and we made from water every living thing, Surah Al-Anbiya, 30. Similarly, in 2011, Saul Perlmutter, Adam Rees, and Brian Schmidt won the Nobel Prize in Physics for discovering the accelerating expansion of the universe, a phenomenon mentioned in the Quran, and the heaven we constructed with strength, and indeed, we are its expander, Surah Az-Zariyat, 47. Dr. Gary Miller's journey led him to convert to Islam in 1978, taking the name Abdul Omar. He resigned from his position in the mathematics department to dedicate himself to his new mission in Canada. His book, The Stunning Quran, has attracted the attention of many, highlighting the miraculous nature of the Quran and its compatibility with modern science. If you enjoyed this video and found Dr. Gary Miller's story as inspiring as we did, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Your support helps us continue to share these important stories and spread knowledge. Please like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and share it with others who might be interested. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to bringing you more fascinating content in our upcoming videos.